Hello and welcome to the EOK Tech Talk. This portion of our hour is about some kind of technology or some kind of resource that may be helpful to you and your business. This is a panel discussion where individuals that are just wanting to share with the group some kind of tip or trick or some resource that's out there available to you. I do want to thank our wonderful sponsors, Pershing Yokely & Associates, online at pyapc.com, Ludica Neely Group, online at lng-patent.com, Neighborhood Nerds at shnerd.com, shnerd.com, and Fair Mechanics online at fairmechanics.com. Today I want to talk about tracking your stuff, because you put marketing pieces, you do your marketing to figure out, what do you do with your marketing? You go to a professional or you brainstorm yourself. You've got to figure out what your unique selling proposition is. What is special about you compared to everybody else? Here at EOK, we also encourage you, thanks to Mr. Chris Coyne, to start with the why when you're describing yourself. So check out Simon Sinek online TED Talk. If you haven't watched that one, you need to watch it, starting with the why. And think about your business from that point of view of figuring out what your unique selling point is. Start with the why you do what you do and why you love it, and why, because other people will connect with you more on that emotional level if you start with the why. Then you talk about the how and the what that you do. So you've created this whole marketing campaign, and then you've also worked with somebody that's going to help you figure out how to spend even more money with all the advertising that you need to do after you have that marketing campaign. So they're saying, well, you need to do Facebook ads, you need to do Twitter ads, you need to do something on your website, you need to go put a billboard up, you need to stick signs up around town. All of these different things. You need to run an ad in the paper, because they've helped you identify who your target client is, and they've helped you identify what your message is if you want to speak to those different people at these different locations. Something where they fall down a lot of times is the real tracking of what's working and what's not working. A lot of those marketing and advertising firms that we've worked with in the past are good at impressions. They can tell you, 100,000 cars a day see this billboard. They can say the readership of this magazine is 1 million, distribution copies or something like that. But they're not good at tying that back to you, so you have some kind of closed loop system to see what's working and what's not working. They're also not good at getting on board with actual conversion to a paying client. They want to talk to you about impressions and driving traffic and stuff like that if they are doing some tracking, but they're not wanting to be on the hook for conversions to a paying client, which is the most important thing to us, as somebody that actually writes us a check for our stuff. So something you need to be doing is every piece of advertising material you put out, you need to be tracking somehow. So if it's a physical piece that's being mailed to someone, a billboard that's going up, how do you track that? One way that you've seen people do before is a QR code. So a QR code is that little square box that looks like a barcode. It is a barcode, but it's like kind of funky shaped QR code. And what that does for you is gives you a link that someone can quickly take their smartphone, scan that thing, and it takes them directly to the link, so they don't fat finger some URL that you put on there. If you don't do a QR code, at least do a URL that is unique to that piece, to that printed piece. Like if you're wanting to do EOK, do eokhq.com/printedpiece1 or something like that as the URL, so that you can track visitors to that location. Another thing is to do unique phone numbers per piece that you put out. So a cheap, easy way to do that is do Google Voice numbers. You can go to Google Voice, sign up for a free number, and you can do them in different locations around the country. You can also do 800 numbers, and you put that on there, and that has a unique message for that piece of advertising. So if someone's driving by a billboard and they see the number 555-1212 or something like that, but you won't use that one, but something. So they call it and they get a unique recording saying, this is, thanks for checking us out, do this, this, or this, some call to action for that. that way they can leave messages, you can get caller ID information, and the other way is you're tracking the web visits. Then you're doing Twitter marketing and Facebook marketing, so you're actually paying for some advertising to target a certain demographic. So if you're on Facebook, it's pretty cool in Facebook where you can do that. You can say, I want you to be in front of all of the left-handed golfers in Knoxville, Tennessee, between this age. And it will target those people because Facebook knows that about them. And it can put that ad just in front of those people. Facebook provides some analytics. I should have started with that. Does everybody know what analytics is?
Yes, sure.
Okay, do you know what analytics? Okay. And analytics is for your tracking. So you want to see number of visits to the site. You want to see how long they were on a certain page. You want to see information about the user that came to the site. Where did they come from? How did they get there? Did they type in the URL directly? Did they, did they click on some search engine link? And if they clicked on a search engine link, what were the terms they were searching on? You can see. There's lots of information that you can figure out from looking at something like Google Analytics. So Google Analytics would be analytics.google.com. Go there and set those up. A tool that you can look at, Facebook has its own built-in, but something if you want to see all of your analytics on one page so you can kind of see where traffic is coming from and going, is something called SumAll, SUMALL.com. And that is a very good one to put your Facebook analytics, your Twitter analytics, your Google analytics, everywhere that you're reaching out to someone. SumAll can generate one report that kind of shows you what's happening. And that's nice to have all that in one spot, because if you run a magazine article that has a link to your Facebook page and your Twitter page and your Google Plus page, you can see on that day what kind of response you got and what kind of sharing you received from that information. And if you're looking at those individual analytics pages, you might not see that. But if you're looking at something that combines all of them, then you can see what effect that had and how that was shared.
Talk a little bit about how tags affect analytics, the tags you put to your ad.
Like the tags on what part?
Well, if you're wanting to say go to this certain ad about this 2-for-1 coupon that put on EOK membership, and you want to track to that, what tags are you putting to that? Entrepreneur, new business, Knoxville, left-handed golfers.
Like for SEO stuff?
Yeah.
So more like SEO.
Yeah.
A lot of us, now that Google's like the #1 place, right, to people use to search to find some service, even local, whatever. So if humans out there that are searching for potential customers, clients, prospects, they're going to the Google search engine and they're typing in something, left-handed golf, clubs for left-handed golfers in Knoxville. Well, somebody might be searching for that term. If you want your page to pop up for that search term, then you would do things like there's something called meta tags that are in that website. And in your website, in your page, you need to put in tags, and the web page editor knows where to put those things. So you go in and you put in left-handed golfers, Knoxville, Tennessee, all of that information. But you also have to have that page talking about that same stuff, because Google and all other search engines that index pages don't like to direct a user to a page that's not the right information. So you can't, they're preventing you from gaming the system, because what they don't want is you using something popular, Oprah Winfrey giveaways, and somebody's typing that in, Oprah Winfrey giveaways, but they get to your site and you're selling left-handed golf gloves, and it's like, what did this have to do with anything? And you were trying to game the system by using tags that were out in the, popular. And a lot of people did that for a while. It was hijacking. So some article, some big hot topic that was in the news, they would use that information to drive traffic to their website. But Google kind of figured that out quickly and kind of broke that. But the tags that you're talking about there are meta tags that people can't see, but the search engines can see behind the scene of the web page and the website. Something else that you can do that's even better than meta tags is purchase a URL that is the search terms. Like if you look online and you're looking at AdWords, Google AdWords, and you're seeing what people are typing, and they're typing left-handed golf gloves in Knoxville, Tennessee, or something like that, or chinchilla saddles and riding crops, Knoxville, Tennessee. You're trying to find, you're wanting to race chinchillas, and you've got little saddles for it. You could buy a URL that is this long, that is exactly that search term that people are typing in, and that's a cheap way to do it.
Well,
because
I was going to say there are some photographers in town that have they have their own website, like their regular one, and then they'll have the URL like Knoxville photographer or Knoxville senior photographer or whatever.
Yes.
Exactly that, whatever people would search, in the hopes that they'll be, that their website will come up. I mean, of course, you still have to have content, all that. So they usually have it redirects to their real website.
Yes. And that's a great idea to do that because one, it's not that expensive. It costs you $10 a year to buy that URL. You set up you already probably have a website, so you just create another subdirectory or something and build that page on WordPress or something. And to be legit, you don't just land there and it's your website, for your business, like a redirect, but you actually land on a website that's about Knoxville senior photography. And maybe you even give away a few hints there about how, what's different about senior photography versus other photography and stuff. And you even mention some of the other photographers that do this kind of stuff. But, you highlight your company as one of the best in Knoxville would be such and such. And here's a link over to their site.
Well, in opposition to that would be if you say your website is left-handedgolfersofknoxvilletennessee.com. It's a long URL. People are not going to type that typically. So you want to come up with something that is short and sweet. With my company in San Antonio, we weren't going to call ourselves Segways of San Antonio, Texas. It was just too long. People wouldn't find it, people wouldn't type it. So we came up with Seg City, SEGCITY.
But that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm actually saying the opposite of that.
Okay.
People are typing Segways of San Antonio, or find me a Segway touring company in San Antonio, or something like that in Google.
It's to find
They're not
those.
typing Seg City,
Yeah.
or what did you call yours?
Seg City,
Yeah, so they're not saying Seg City, Buzz Gillette. That's not what a person that doesn't know you would type. They would type Segway Tours of San Antonio. And if you bought a URL that said segwaytoursofsanantonio.com and you talked on there about Segway Tours, and then you just happened to mention that you have a company, you have to say you have a company. And here's a company where you can do tours using Segways. That's much better because you want to get in front of people that are typing that. So they're not typing it in as a URL, they're searching for it. And they're not typing it all together, they're typing it as a sentence. They're saying, find Segway Tours in San Antonio, Texas, not .com. They're just typing that and hitting enter. If you have a URL that says Segway Tours of San Antonio, Texas, it's going to be #1 result.
So short and sweet is not those little fun.
Short and sweet is when you want to tell someone your URL, not when you want them to find your URL. So if you're putting your URL on a piece of signage, you don't want to say Segway Tours of San Antonio, Texas.com, or anything like that, because somebody's going to be typing that and mistype it. You want Seg City on your marketing, advertising literature, but you want to also own these other URLs that are search strings.
And there's nothing wrong with owning 20 or 30 different variations of that.
Right. And then something else you might find is there's a community around it. So there's a community around senior photographers. And then instead of building a web page that's just like a brochure online that talks about senior photography and then directs to this person's website, create a Facebook group around it. Create a Ning site. Go to Ning site. Go to Ning.com and set up senior photography. KnoxvilleSeniorPhotography.com, you know, boom. And then you have the photographers coming in, and you also have clients coming in, and you give them 2 different kinds of membership. But the beauty of it is you control the site. So you control the marketing and the advertising on the site and everything, and these people are just collecting together because they have this common love, you know, for this topic. Any other questions?
Well, I seem to be out of step. I need about 20 customers. That's all I'm on here about. So all of my efforts so far have produced 500 hits. Like, so what? You know, just to consume a lot of my time, your time, and everything else. How can you narrow all this down to like, I want 20 customers? The rest of you, please don't call.
Yeah. So
all this marketing is like when everybody's a customer. I don't want everybody.
Yeah. So you're, and is it local or do you care if they're local?
No, Tennessee.
Okay, Tennessee. And your website is sbahq.com?
Yes.
Okay, and you're trying to be an inexpensive, do-it-yourself marketing advertising for small businesses?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's you want to think, because definitely you have clients out there, right? There's a lot of startup companies, a lot of even larger companies that are saying, I want to do a video, I want to do podcasting, I want to do testimonials, I want to do, I want something on, you know, on iTunes or something like that, but I don't know how to do it, and you know how to do it. So you got to think, and you got to look at Google AdWords too. What are people searching for on Google? What is a small business owner searching for if they're thinking do-it-yourself videos, make my podcast, you know, create a testimonial video myself, something like that. And then you grab those URLs and you say, are you interested in building your own testimonial video? Hey, take a look at a few of these. If this is something you're interested in, give us a call or visit our website here. You know, something like that.
Say all that where?
On Google. So in Google, you would go to adwords.google.com, adwords.google.com, and you have to sign in with an account and everything. But then you can type in different strings, like sentences saying what. You got to get in the head of the person that's actually sitting there typing, which you may not be able to do that. Like most of us suffer from that, right? Like you don't think like your client thinks. You know, you already know everything about your product and everything about your service, and you wouldn't search for it the same way as somebody that has no idea. So you almost need to do some kind of you know, poll of people, survey, at least get a group of people that aren't very knowledgeable together and ask them, okay, this is what I provide, this is what I do, how would you find me? What would you type into Google to look for me, to look for this service if you were a business owner? So then you type in those strings in Google AdWords, and it gives you a little box, you type it in, boom, hit enter, and it comes back and it says how popular those words are. So, you know, if you typed in podcasting and hit enter, it's probably going to be pretty popular. You know, like you're not going to be super competitive with everybody else out there about podcasting, because there's podcasting software, there's podcasting services, there's podcasts that are already out there that have tried to get that language. But so you need to come up with a string that is more unique to to what you do instead of a broad, this wide net. Whenever you find that string, like 2 or 3 of those strings, then it's going to ask you to pay for those clicks. Depending on how popular it is, hopefully we've found something that's not super popular. It targets those few thousand in Tennessee that we're looking for, those kinds of searches. It might cost you like a penny a click or a half penny a click or something like that. And then you say, yeah, I want to buy that, and I'm going to set my budget to $5 a day. So $5 a day is what you're willing to pay if it just goes crazy. Probably won't hit that because there's not that many people searching for it, but the ones that are searching for it are exactly the ones you're looking for. So they search for it, and whenever you do that paid thing on Google AdWords, you're going to be in that yellow box at the top that's the paid advertising, but those do get clicks. So people look on the page, they don't see exactly what they want, but they're like, well, that's what I want. And especially the people that don't really understand why that box is yellow versus the rest of the page and stuff. So they click on your ad, they go to your site, and your site really talks about what that search engine said. When that happens a few times, you actually start coming up in the organic results too. So you start moving up. So then when people are searching, it's in the yellow box, but it's also down here in the white box. And you want people to click on the white box so that doesn't cost you any money.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
That translates to me as get a hold of a nerd to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the nerds are good at that, setting all that stuff up. Any other questions about tracking, analytics? I mean, you know, the starting point, like I said earlier, though, you have to understand what it is you're bringing to the table. What is it that you do that's special, and you have to write that down. And then you have to write down, you know, figure out, you know, how long have I been in business, what's special about me, how much experience do I have doing a certain kind of thing, and you like write all of that out. Because that kind of gives you this picture of who am I, what do I provide, and why would people want to buy from me. Another good thing to do if you're in a business before you start down this path of even tracking some of this stuff is, we talked about the other day, a 360 survey is ask your clients that already work with you, you know, what do I do and why do you buy from me? Ask your vendors, what do I do and why do I buy from you? You know, what's our relationship look like? Ask, you know, the people that you buy from, what do I do and why do you buy from me? Ask your employees, ask your manager, ask your receptionist, ask your friends, and see what the responses are. Because a lot of people are shocked that all of these different responses, you think in your head what it is that you do and what you bring to the table and what's special about you, but it could be completely different from why your customer's buying from you. And you have to understand why those people are spending dollars with you. All right?
It's very helpful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. That's what we're all about.
Great stuff.
Thanks a lot. This has been the EOK Tech Talk with tracking your stuff, marketing, advertising, and analytics. Check us out online at eokhq.com or follow us on Twitter at EOKTown. Thanks.